The Apple iPad 2017 edition, also known as the 5th generation, was the first iPad to reintroduce the classic iPad name without adding Mini, Air, or Pro since 2012. Welcome to another Apple demo video, and today we're going to look at a type of prototype that we haven't yet looked at before on this channel. A type of prototype that can't exactly be smuggled out of the Apple factory by shoving it down your pants. Let's take a look at an iPad prototype, running Switchboard. As you've probably already been able to notice, this iPad prototype is cracked. Badly cracked. You'll be thankful to hear that no, I didn't drop it, and this was just the condition that I bought it in. I have, however, added tape to the screen. This is to both prevent more glass from falling out and so that I don't cut my fingers when actually using the iPad. Luckily though, the actual touchscreen, also known as the digitizer, was not damaged, so I'm still able to navigate Switchboard just fine. I do have a pretty good idea of how this prototype actually got cracked in the first place though. If you look on the home screen of Switchboard, you can see an app called Drop Test. Upon opening the app, it will display sensor values that the iPad is collecting in real time. By opening one of the previously done tests, it does indeed appear that the iPad was dropped in an engineering test. Therefore, this leaves me to believe that this iPad was likely a drop test unit, only to be manufactured, dropped a few times, and then scrapped. As you can now see on screen, here's the drop test that was actually performed on the iPad. Now, how did I actually obtain the iPad? As it turns out, the seller must have thought that the cracked screen made this piece of history worthless, as it was being sold on a Chinese reselling site for a mere 500 yuan, which exchanges to around 77 US dollars. Prototype Apple devices often go for much more than this, so I was immediately skeptical. I thought that maybe the seller was trying to scam me, but I decided to take the risk anyways, and I was extremely surprised to discover that the iPad was actually shipped. And while it did take over a month to arrive, it eventually did, and now I can say that this is probably one of the best deals that I've ever gotten on any Apple prototype. Now that we know where this iPad came from, let's get into what this piece of development hardware actually is and investigate some of the unique qualities this iPad has. Without even turning on the prototype, we can already tell that something is amiss. The iPad lacks any engravings that a normal iPad would usually have. This includes the trademark iPad text that would usually be found on the bottom of the housing. Another detail is that this iPad has some kind of blue thin plastic cover on the lightning port. While you can quite easily remove this tape, a normal brand new iPad wouldn't usually have this. Both of these facts imply that the iPad did not fully go through the Apple manufacturing line, as all the required procedures that needed to be done to make this iPad retail ready were not completed, and hence, it was never supposed to be sold to a customer. On the software side, this iPad runs Switchboard, the Apple engineering operating system. I don't really think an explanation needs to be given as to why a customer would never see this. And finally, after running an internal serial number search, this iPad is a PVT, meaning product validation testing, prototype. For those who don't know, by the way, PVT devices are one of the last stages of prototyping, meaning that the devices are very similar to retail ones. As commonly known by collectors, PVT devices are often not as rare as, say, EVT or DVT prototypes, due to the higher volume and less strict security guidelines imposed on PVT prototypes. I still believe though that I got an absolute steal of a deal for this hardware, considering the abnormally low price I paid. And now with all the things that you need to know about this prototype out of the way, I will give a no commentary demonstration of this prototype iPad in action. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and if you want to see more videos on collectible Apple devices, please even consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with new uploads I make. Thank you again, and I hope you have a good one.